Silence! It's time! It's time! It's
time for another episode of the Drunk Dash Nerds podcast.
Can you dig it, sucker?
Grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. Grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. Grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. Grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. Sit back and get back and get back and grab a six-pack, sit back and get back and get back and grab a six-pack, sit back and get back and get back and grab a six-pack, sit back and get back and get back and grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 383 of the Drunk Dash Podcast. I'm host Zoe, I'm Tyler, and joining me with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
Well, I'll tell you what, Tyler. I'm exhausted after today. There's so much work that had to be done. But at the same time, I'm glad that I got it finished and that I have 2 days at least in order to refuel and refocus myself for the next week. Nice. But other than that, you know, just the whole surviving the whole West Coast is on fire thing, that has definitely been a thing over the past week. But thankfully, I'm not inside of like any major wildfire zones. For any listeners listening in, yes, at this current moment in time, as we are recording, the entire West Coast, in some way or another, is on fire.
Yes.
Due to actual people going through and setting things ablaze, to crazy weather, who knows what exactly some of the causes are, but let's just say that, it could be better in terms of the air quality around here. So a better part of my day was spent with my mask on, out in public, because struggling with the air quality has definitely been a bad case and issue. But other than that, I'm doing all right, Tyler. How have you been?
Doing all right, man. It's kind of crazy where maybe M. Night Shyamalan was on to something when he had that movie about the wind was killing people. Remember, I was like, it's the trees, and the trees are passing off this. I don't remember what the name of the movie. It's happening, or it's what's happening, or something. But yeah, I don't know. It's just it's weird. There's been so many twists. And it's man, maybe M. Night Shyamalan was on something. He knew something was coming that we didn't know. COVID. That was the twist to his movies this whole time. Was he saw it coming? Bastard. Think he would tell us instead of he's like, surprise, COVID's thing.
What a twist,
dick. What a twist. What a douche.
In the year 2020, we're going to do all sorts of various political stuff. We're going to have a pandemic. We're going to go through, and we're going to have a whole bunch of riots and everything else going on. And on top of that, we're going to have ourselves wildfires all over the West Coast. What a twist.
Yeah. Iowa's going to get a hurricane.
Oh, God.
We're going to have tropical storms on the East Coast. There's a asteroid headed our way. What is it for October? That's all I want to know. What will we get in October? November we have the asteroid. I want to know what's coming October. Let's just get it out of the way. Just tell me now.
Killer badgers.
Dude, that's my third worst fear. Let's not do that.
Killer badgers.
Killer badgers is definitely top 5. Like a slow news week, we're gonna do our top 10 worst fears.
Oh God.
It's number 3, killer badgers. We had the murder hornets. Why not killer badgers, you know?
I know, right? We had the murder hornets and stuff. Those stupid freaking those type of species of bees or something like that live predominantly in Japan, migrating themselves all the way up to the West Coast, ironically inside Washington State. So hey, that's another thing I need to dodge. So,
God, it's just
you got fires, you got murder hornets.
Yeah. Fucking cats and dogs living together. Fucking mass hysteria. I don't know. I'm doing okay otherwise though. It's been a week, obviously everything going on. Nothing too crazy going on. Otherwise, I was gonna say something and I totally spaced it as I was speaking. I was leading myself to it and it was gone. Completely gone. I do want to just mention again. I've already talked about it enough, I know, but the Brita, man, it's got to be the best invention ever. chef's kiss of water, you know? It's like I'm like, every time I pour myself a glass, I just feel like Chef Gordon Ramsay pouring a glass of water. I'm just like, good. It's good. It's not bland. Not bland. Not bland. Not rotten. Not rotten! Sorry. I've been watching a lot of Kitchen Nightmares lately. Nothing else to do right now. Just waiting on goddamn fucking video games to play. Yeah, I say that, but I was looking at the release schedule for the rest of the year, and my God, it's bad. You know what? We got a lot to talk about, so I think we should just jump on into it because I'm just gonna start rambling on stupid shit. So we're gonna jump into the news because there is a lot of it. We're gonna start off with probably the biggest news of the week. And that is the Xbox Series S was officially revealed, the worst kept secret in gaming, and also the Series X. We got the official price and the release dates for these things. So kind of started off Monday night randomly on Labor Day. I'm not sure how, people were like, "Oh man, was this a planned leak?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm sure at 10 o'clock on a Monday night on Labor Day, that's what they wanted to do is start tweeting or having delays or leaks come out." So the Series S was officially revealed. It was leaked $300, and then finally, literally 2:15 in the morning Monday night, they officially revealed the Series S, which is that's how crazy. That just shows you how weird 2020 is Xbox is revealing consoles at 2 o'clock in the morning on a Monday night. So it's gonna be $300. It's a slightly less powerful version of it. It's got a 500 gigabyte internal hard drive. It doesn't play 4K, but does 1440p. And then that's coming November 10th, as long as with the Series S, or goddamn, I'm going to do this for the next 7 years, Gables. I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to mix up S and X. The Series X will be coming out for $500 on November 10th as well. That one does play the 4K. We already know all about that one. Obviously, the big thing we didn't know about was the S. But when you, just before we get into anything else, what was your thoughts on the prices for this thing?
Oh, you know what? The prices, especially for the Series S, very competitive. I feel like that's very competitive in terms of their digital model, pretty much. This is their Series S is like their digital only model right here.
Yep, I forgot to mention that. Thank you.
That, what was it, $300 price point.
Yep.
$300 for an Xbox Series S. Sure, it's not completely 4K. It's 1440p, but at the same time, I would suspect it's going to be more or less aimed towards frame rate stuff when certain games go through and support it. So technically, you're getting yourself an all-digital console that's more powerful in some regards than the Xbox One X. So that in of itself is a good deal, in my honest opinion, because I believe this thing also to include some bits of Game Pass alongside it. I would suspect.
Yeah. So the big thing is, we'll jump at this as well, is that they're having the All Access plan. This is something they've had before. They did with the 360 at the end of last generation. They've been doing this with the Xbox One and S and the X and everything like that. They started doing that. I want to say 2017 or 2018, because that's the reason I bought the Xbox One X was because I was going to do the payment plan. But then I called the Microsoft store and they said yes, we're open, and I drove 45 minutes to the closest Microsoft store to get the payment plan, and then they told me, "Oh yeah, no, we don't open until an hour from now." I'm like, "Why did you answer the phone then and tell me you're open?" So I went to the Best Buy across the street from the mall, and I just bought one outright. No, I'm not upset about that still. I moved on. But anyways, so they have the All Access payment plan. So it's $25 a month for the S for 2 years, but that includes when you do it, they give you 2 years. They give you 2 years with the codes, 2 1-year codes for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which is $15 a month. So essentially, you're paying $10 a month for the console, and then for the X, it's $35 a month, and you also get same deal with the Game Pass Ultimate. So you're not paying any extra money than you would have if you got the console and Game Pass Ultimate for 2 years. So you're just breaking that payment up over 2 years. So I don't know. What did you think about the payment plan and all that too?
To be perfectly honest, I thought that was very interesting in that regards, because they're giving their consumers an option to where, obviously, during this whole pandemic stuff, a lot of people out of jobs, a lot of people going through struggling to make some money and stuff. Not a lot of them are going to go through and buy a $500 console or a $300 console just out of the pocket and change. So it's like they're continuing on doing what they knew was highly successful inside of previous console launches and stuff, was have this sort of pay-as-you-go sort of implement. Only this one's a bit more expanded, and it's honestly, it's a very attractive deal in that regards, because you're essentially, like you just said, you're paying for Ultimate Game Pass on top of either a Series X or a Series S. And think about it this way: so you're paying $35 a month just to go through and have an Xbox Series X, their most powerful system, mind you, that they're going to be releasing. It has a disc drive. You can play on your backwards compatible games, plus whatever else they're going to go through and put on Game Pass. Give or take, like exclusives and stuff. That's a very attractive deal for any consumer from the outsider looking in. And quite honestly, I feel like that's going to play a good intricate role in Microsoft having an advantage starting off with their system, personally.
Yeah. And then also on top of that, you have EA Play coming to Game Pass later this year, too.
Yeah, so now you're going to have a whole bunch of, like, EA Classic stuff. Like, say, there's a bunch of good games that are on, like, the EA Play service. I'm talking about Dragon Age Inquisition. I'm talking about certain, like, sports games that some people would be very much into. And some Battlefield games. Yeah. Yeah,
you got Battlefield. Both Battlefront games are on there. I mean, they're older games, but they're, I mean, it's, you know, I mean, it's still a good deal, especially. I mean, you get the 10-hour previews for all their games. So, like, you can play UFC 4, the new Madden on there for 10 hours. And then you get a discount. I think it's 10% off anything you buy on there as well. Off those games, you want to buy them permanently. So, yeah, no, I'm with you. I think it's, I mean, I know a lot of people were saying they're going to go cheap with the S. And I didn't fully. I figured $500. I think was like a lot of people felt was right for the console this generation, for the X. But I don't know if anybody was guessing $300 for the for that lower end model.
No, nobody was. I honestly believe that a lot of people were not banking on the fact that the lower end Xbox Series model was going to be $300.
Yeah,
because a lot of people had in their minds like, okay, $500 and then $400.
Yeah. I was guessing like maybe $350 in that range, because it was being slightly less powerful, and then not having a disc drive. But $300, I mean, also they can afford it. And we've talked about before, like Xbox, like it's kind of interesting now where you look at like for a long time it was like Xbox, PlayStation were like directly competing for the same thing, and Nintendo was always off doing their own thing. And it's like now Nintendo's off still doing their own thing, but then you have like PlayStation, they're still selling their console. Like no, this is the next gen experience, and then here's all our library of great first party games, and then you got like Xbox, they're trying to sell you that service as in Game Pass Ultimate. It's like, we're trying to sell you.
Well, you know, Tyler, it's like we got that Sony showcase is going to be happening next week as of recording here on like September 16th, was it?
Yep, on Wednesday. Yep.
On Wednesday, September 16th. I feel like that Sony cannot sell that digital only model higher than $300 now. I personally do not think they should.
I think they will and they can, because the discless, the digital only PS5 is just as powerful, has all the same specs in it as the regular PS5.
Right.
So I think they can get away with charging more for it. My argument is with this, and I've seen other people say like, oh, it's gonna be $50 less. It's not that much cheaper to have a disc drive taken on, which is true. Disc drives aren't that expensive in the long run. But my argument is like they could sell for $400 or $350 even. They could argue they could sell for $300, because if you get a digital only one, you have to buy all your games digitally.
Well, yes.
So they're going to make that money back. So even you think about, even if you're somebody that buys, you're like the guy that you only buys the big shooter game and the sports games, you know, like you're going to get your money back, even if they only buy 4 or 5 games a year. Over the couple of years, you're going to get that money back. You know, someone like me who I am 90% digital at this point, especially with like PS5 or PS4, and
right.
I'm almost 100% digital on those. Like the Switch is the one thing I'm somewhat physical on those. That sounds sexual. I didn't mean it that way, but it's kind of true as well. You know, like I'm going to buy, I buy easily AAA games, $60 games. You know, I buy 7, 8, 9 of those a year, you know, not including the smaller indie games, stuff like that. So it's like, they're going to get their money back real fast on those things from people. You know, it's like, they could sell for $300, but I don't think they will. But I could see them doing, I think $350 or $400 is, there's an argument there for it where, I mean, I think a lot of people are missing that in that point, but go ahead.
Right. Like I was saying, I feel like that it would be a detriment, I feel, to Sony to go through and sell it for more than, say, the $300 mark, only because I feel like that regardless of why the Xbox Series S, yes, it's a downgrade in terms of visual fidelity. You're not getting a complete 4K, you're getting like a 1440p, but at the same time, you're saving about $100 on this. I'm guessing that Sony will probably go through and like have this their digital models sell for like $400 or whatsoever. But at the same time, if they do that, a customer's going to look at a customer wants to go through and they want to invest instead of a digital only console, right? Well, Microsoft is already one of the more user friendly of them, where it's like it's $100 cheaper. Xbox Ultimate Game Pass, you pay. But essentially, if you go on that per month deal and stuff, that's included inside of everything. And so it's like you get to play online, have the Ultimate Game Pass, have this digital only console, and you're only spending $300 for it, as opposed to when you have the all digital version of the PS5. We're not too sure what the price is right now, but I am going to make a guess right now where it's like it's going to be either $400 or whatsoever. You have like things like PlayStation Now and stuff like that, but I am not really too keen on the details of whether Sony is going to do something similar for their consoles in terms of a month-by-month payment basis. But I kind of feel like in terms of the broader appeal, consumers I feel are going to go with the console that's going to be less in price, still play a lot of the same like third-party sub games that are presented on the PS5. However, I feel like that's going to be a bit more of an advantage in my personal opinion.
I mean, I think this whole thing is great with the Xbox. Like, I love the price point's perfect. At 500, I think is what most of us all, like I said, already figured. 300 shocked everybody.
Yes.
Payment plan, perfect. I don't think Sony will have one because I mean they could, but it's like Xbox. They've had one in place, and we don't really know. Like, I guess I shouldn't say for sure we don't, but I haven't looked too hard into it. But from what I hear by talking, like, the payment thing they've had for a long time now has always been through like Microsoft stores. So it was like, is that all access plan that only going to be through Microsoft stores, which I imagine is going to be the case. So, like how easy are those going to get this generation or this fall, this holiday season, even the next 6 months. But, yeah, this is so cool and exciting. I even started talking to myself, like maybe like I've been in those Facebook groups, like on Talk Ship or on Twitter, talk to people and like reading the people talk about it. It's like, oh man, it's so great. It's so awesome. Getting Game Pass, blah, 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 and all this stuff like that. But I'm just like, now I'm thinking about for like a few seconds, like, what am I going to play on it? Like, if you're looking for like, what's something I could play on it that you can't get anywhere else, like something that's not going to be, what's that big next gen game that's selling, like the Medium is their big game they have that you can only get on Xbox,
right?
The new Xbox,
the moment,
Xbox
yes.
Series. They won't even be able to play those on the Xbox Ones. So it's like, and that game is, that game, I want to play that game really bad. It looks really good, but it definitely looks like that's like their showpiece game. Like, look what we can do with this thing, with this console. But like, where's that big selling game? And it's like, they don't have that. Like Halo, they put all their eggs in the basket essentially, but 2 with Halo, and that fell through obviously. And for good good on them for doing it, but it's like that didn't work out. So it's like, I mean, I get it. Like, if you're somebody that you just want to get in the next gen, you don't have the money, like this is perfect for families, especially like this is a shittier these things are expensive anyways. It's hard to get them in general anyways, even for middle class, upper middle class, but it's like from an affordable rate. But like this year more than anything, I think it's gonna be tough for most people, like even more so than most years obviously, to get one. So it's more from that standpoint, get you in there cheap, especially like you want to go in for your kid, but you don't have the money for it. It's like, well, fuck, I can just pay $35 or $25 a month, and he's got a new console. Yep. And then he's got this. And he's on top of that. He's got the whole. You could sell that. Like, he's got an instant backlog of games to play, and it's like,
yep.
But I mean, it's cool and all. It's like, hey, we have all these games you can play, but it's like these games have been out for a while. It's like,
that's very true.
So it's like it's a weird thing. It's like I guess it's like, what are you looking for? If you just want to get in the next gen, like, yeah, this is the way to go. But it's like, if you're looking for that reason of why you're next gen, like, there ain't a lot of reasons to be there. It's like everything that's coming to it is third party stuff. It's gonna be stuff that's you could play on the Xbox One right now, or it's like, look at what's I'm not even trying to be the Sony pony here. Like, I obviously, if you listen to the show long enough, I'm a Nintendo Sony guy. This generation I am. You would listen to me at the beginning of this podcast over 7 years ago. I was a Microsoft guy pretty much only. I was kind of a Sony guy. I like the first party games, but like I fucking bash on Nintendo every week, and like now I'm like, I love Nintendo. I bash on them more than anybody. I still bash on them more than I love them, but I bash on them because I love them. It's a weird abusive relationship we're in, where they abuse me and I abuse them back. But it's like PlayStation 5. Yeah, they might not have that. They might be a little more expensive. They might not have this payment plan, but they they're gonna have Spider-Man. You know, it's like I mean, it's just kind of this weird thing where it's like like I said, they're selling a service, and Sony's selling the next generation. Right. Thing where it's like, I guess that's what you look for. It's tough because it's just like there's so many variables where it's like, I mean, for me, like I'm looking at this, I'm like I go where the games are. I've always said that. Like I am a guy that like I bought an Xbox One X because there was a few games that are an Xbox One because there was finally enough games that I wanted to play. Same with the Wii U and the 3DS. When there's enough games there, I finally bought one. And it's like I'm gonna go where the games are at. And eventually, when the day comes and there's enough games that on the Xbox Series X, or there's that game that sells me on up, because I have the One X, so I don't feel the reason to upgrade. I've talked about that before, but like when that game finally comes, then like I need to upgrade. Then yeah, that's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be great. Another thing I want to know is like this is maybe I've asked this question before and I've never got an answer for it. Is like, say you get this payment plan, it's like, can I pay it early? You know, it's like that's the thing I can do. Like, say you're like, you know, there's a lot of families that are struggling now, but then tax season comes around, we get our tax returns. It's like, well, I don't want to pay $35 a month for this thing. I just want to pay the last, $500-$600 off, whatever much is on there. So I kind of just pay it off. Because like that would honestly, like I could see myself doing that. You know, like at a certain point, like I'll get the payment plan, the all access plan, and then when I have some extra money, if I could chip away, like I was telling Gables for the podcast, I'm a guy that pays. If I could pay shit ahead, I pay shit ahead. You know, it's
right.
Like I got some extra cash around, and like I don't have anything crazy going on. It's like, well, I'm gonna fucking pay 6 months ahead of fucking Netflix. You know, that's me. I'm a weird guy like that. It's like paranoid motherfucker. It's like, well, fuck, I might be broke in 4 months, so it's like I won't be able to afford Netflix, so I better just pay it, ahead. I'm very weird and paranoid, but yeah, I don't know. It's like that's something I want to know too. It's like, I mean, that's not in the grand scheme of it, that's not all that important, but yeah, like I said, I think this is great. It's like I've been saying it's like I've been saying for years. It's like Xbox has been killing it for the last 4 years on consumerism with the Game Pass, backwards compatibility, the payment plans, everything like that being affordable, more affordable. You know, it's like, but the biggest issue and still going into this generation now, and like was like we thought Halo Infinite, like this fall would be the thing that kind of goes away with that. It's like, where are the games? You know, it's like yeah, you got all this great stuff, but like, where are the games? So I don't know. I mean, we'll hear more, but there's a couple more things I want to talk about this out of that. So Assassin's Creed Valhalla was originally supposed to come out November 17th. Now it's coming out November 10th to launch with the Xbox Series S and X. And also Gears Tactics finally got a release date. It's been on PC since like February or March, but it's finally coming out. They've announced on November 10th as well. So that's basically their big exclusive launch game for Xbox is we're getting the Medium and Gears Tactics. So anything interesting, anything in those intrigue you at all?
No, not currently at the moment.
Okay. I mean, I've talked about it before. I'm super pumped for Gears Tactics. I love those XCOM style games. I actually don't like XCOM though itself because it's too deep, and I don't give a shit about the side stuff. I like the gameplay. So if anybody's heard me rant about how great Mario plus Rabbids is, you'd understand that. Our SteamWorld Heist. But moving on, speaking of game payment plans, GameStop is considering having payment plans this holiday season as well for the new consoles. They're thinking of a few things. Thinking of doing a layaway, which I've done before. I don't know if they've ever done for like the holiday. I don't know. I don't know if most stores do that for the new consoles and shit like that when they come out. If they do layaways or not, but they're also thinking about doing a couple installment plans as well. Where there's a place called Quad Play where you basically have to pay. You make 4 payments over 6 weeks to pay it off. So you basically have, like I said, 6 weeks to pay it off. And then there's another one named Klarna. I don't know. I mean, obviously I don't know these, but like. That they are when you make payment plans, you have 12 months to pay it off, but they're pretty strict on if you miss a payment, then they take the shit back. So this isn't like, and there's also a rent to own one, which we don't really know what that means exactly. So there's something they're considering, and there's the kind of the talk out of this is like the consumer wouldn't pay any more money, you're not going to pay an interest rate, but they will do a credit check, where the Microsoft one will not do a credit check on you. So you have to be approved to get these, but I mean, I don't know, not too much more to say on this, but I think because GameStop, they've had a really rough quarter. They announced, I think they said they lost $111 million last quarter, and they're closing. Yeah. They already announced they're going to close 300 stores this year. They've announced they're going to close 150 stores. So, they're
actually, the last thing I was checked, they were actually going through and closing about even more than that now, like about 600 stores.
Oh, okay. All right. I guess I didn't see that.
At least by the end of the year and also through 2021, they were actually planning more closures.
Okay. All right. I missed that part then. I So yeah, so that's, I mean, obviously they're doing bad, and this is, you know, I mean, they've sold more consoles than any other store this generation. So it's curious. I think they're hoping for that big bump this year. So I don't know, maybe, I don't know. I hope. I think this, once again, it's still cool. It sucks they might do a credit check, but I mean, if you're someone that wants to get it, you know, if you have decent credit, I don't know how strict they're going to be on this stuff, but I mean, the only downside is you got like the quad. If they go quad play, you have 6 weeks to pay it off, and then you have to do, and both of these you have to do a down payment, and no idea how much. Obviously, the down payment has to be at the beginning, but you will have to do some sort of a down payment for these. But and then obviously the Klarna one doesn't sound as bad, where it's going to be you have a year. You have to do monthly payments for a year to pay it off. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, not too much more to add on that, but it sucks to hear where GameStop is, because I mean, everybody talks shit about GameStop, but I mean, I'd rather have a GameStop than not have a GameStop around, honestly. I mean, it's nice to be able to trade games in every now and again, even though if they give you shitty value. It's like, I'd rather have the option to trade these games in and get something for them than not at all. But moving on here, so we had the Ubisoft Forward as well on Thursday. So it started off really weird. Like earlier in the day, Yves Guillemot came out with the whole message about how, you know, oh hey, you know, people found out Ubisoft's really shitty lately, and there was like, it happened right before last the July Ubisoft Forward we had, and then they did the same thing. They put it out there before the show, separate from the event, and they're like, oh yeah, it was a time period, we didn't have enough time to do that. And it's like, this has been going on for 3 months now, and then they made the same argument again, that, oh, we didn't have time to put this 4-minute thing in here from our CEO in the event, but we had a 3-minute fucking music video in Watch Dogs Legions, but we didn't have time for a fucking a statement from our president, or our CEO, rather. This was about a 45-minute event. I'm just going to run through these one by one here. So start off, actually I didn't start off. I'm going to go in order by this article I have here. So we got the Immortals Phoenix Rising, which the title leaked a couple weeks ago, and we talked about how shitty it was last week. Yep. It's coming out December 3rd, which Xbox leaked that last week as well. And it's a Greek mythology game. It used to be Gods and Monsters. And it's coming to Switch, Xbox One, PS4, Stadia, PC, and it's going to be a free upgrade to PS5 and Xbox Series S and X. But it is basically, like I said last week, I watched the leaked demo that came out a while back, and it's like Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Breath of the Wild had a baby. Then a bunch of gameplay previews came out right after the event. I watched a couple of them. I don't know if you got a chance to see any of this, Gables, but what did you think of the reveal? This is the first time we've actually seen real gameplay of it. And what did you think of the whole trailer we got for it?
The gameplay definitely was very familiar, but at the same time, there were some interesting elements to it. I did like a lot of the visuals that were going on the screen. It kind of gave me a little bit of hints of how Kid Icarus Uprising was back on the 3DS.
Yeah,
you know, in terms of like some bits of the designs and the directions, but this is definitely heavily Breath of the Wild influence in more the ways than one in some regards. But I'm talking about like certain sceneries inside the trailer in and of itself, like that back view when you would go through and you view like in Breath of the Wild, once you wake up out of that chamber and you go, and the first thing you see as you go into the opening thing is like that huge castle with Calamity Ganon going on in the distance, and all of a sudden everything else going and moving and living and breathing, you know. And then all of a sudden inside this trailer for this this Immortals pardon me, inside that Immortals game, something similar to that effect was going through. And so basically you have Phoenix going through, looking out in the distance, and it's sort of something similar to where they have like some sort of main obstacle in the distance, and all of a sudden you have this and that. I mean, they're making no attempt to, like, say, cover up a lot of the borrowed influence of like a game like Breath of the Wild.
But what's weird is, sorry to cut you off, but like I guess people were talking about like when they did the preview, and there was like a guy talking to him when in the preview. It's like, oh, this kind of reminds me of like Breath of the Wild. And it's like, yeah, we're trying to get away from that. It's like, well, they did a terrible job. Are you really? No, it doesn't look like it.
And what's hilarious about it is the same game is going to be on the Switch as well. So you have.
Well, hey man, you want to get those Breath of the Wild fans? That's where they're all at. So.
Oh yeah, no doubt. The gameplay in of itself looked fine. It looked all right. I still need to look and see more in regards to when that game does come out. I'm waiting on reviews. I'm pretty much waiting on consumer reviews on who gets the game, how it plays. I watched a little bit of what a YouTuber, Misclick Gaming and stuff, what she went through and played, because she had a chance to test some gameplay stuff out through what Ubisoft invited her to go through and play off through the demo. And yeah, a bunch of YouTubers are getting access to playing the demo of Immortals, Phoenix Rising and stuff. But gameplay looks alright.
Yeah. I'm with you. Where I don't know. It's like it's like that's a complaint I had with like I knocked like Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order last year a lot because it's like they take a lot of elements from different games and it's like I said there's nothing wrong with that, but it's like there's a point when you don't do it well enough. Like you do like a lot of games do it like A+, level, and it's like or even A- level, and it's like we're gonna take these 10 great things from other games and put them in our game, but we're gonna do them at a B level. And it's like, and you sit there like, I've done this better somewhere else. I've done this better somewhere else.
I got that exact same feeling when I first played Castlevania Lords of Shadows.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah,
it's the same thing I felt.
That's the Kojima one, isn't it?
Yeah, actually, it was the Kojima one. I mean, there were some aspects of it was good, but the same thing kind of rings true with our comparison here for like Immortals, Phoenix Rising and stuff, where Lords of Shadows back in the day when it released, there was a lot of borrowed influence for great games at the time. God of War, Shadow of the Colossus was definitely another borrowed influence and stuff, plus some other sorts of popular games at the time.
Yeah. There's a lot. Like I loved AC Odyssey. I think this is made with the same people that made AC Odyssey, but it's just got a weird vibe to it too. Remember what's that? Is it Godfall? That had that really weird like trailer not too long ago when they played rap over it.
Yep.
And it's like this doesn't fit. And then this one, like the first thing we get fucking James Brown playing in the background. Like,
I thought something was off about that.
And then it's like we get fucking we got James Brown in the background, and then it's like we also have like the way that Phoenix reacts. It just reminds me of like the weird like EA Sims trailers that we get. It's like it looks like you put a sim in as your main character in this game. Just the way you can like create your Phoenix the way you want it and make it a boy or girl. And it's just like you spin in a chair. I don't know. I'm sitting like this reminds me of like a fucking like how EA reveals their Sims stuff. But I don't know. It's just like I said, like it has all the obviously it's just like blatant rip off of fucking Breath of the Wild. So even like the first thing you see is like comes out on like you're on the cliff and it pulls out a binocular. Like I said, you can see the castle in the background, and then you got like, but you also got like Zeus cracking jokes in the background. It's like, what is the vibe of this? What is this game? Like, is this is this would be like a fun jokesy game? Am I supposed to take this seriously? Like, it's like then they have vaults, which are obviously shrines, and they're like there's puzzles and there's ones you have to defeat a wave of enemies or to just defeat one enemy. It's like there's 60 vaults, but they're not shrines; they're vaults. I don't know. It's just, and it's got the gameplay of of AC Odyssey where you use the LT R2 and stuff like that, or LT and RT to like attack, because everybody on the game previews was playing on like an Xbox controller, so that's why I said that. But I don't know. Like I'm with you, whereas like I want to see what people say about when it comes out. Like the previews came out, a lot of people said yeah they liked it, but I'm not seeing a lot of people raving about it. So,
sure.
But and it's like it's gonna be an open world game at that point in time. And it's like I said, like the rest of the year is pretty filled up, which I'll get to in a second. But I don't know. It's a wait and see kind of game. Definitely when reviews come out, I think it's gonna make or break whether I check it out. Next up we have Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time is getting a allegedly it's a modern remake. Okay, modern but it's coming. Yeah, it's coming. I think they said in January of 2021. I believe they said January 21st. Yeah, so it is. But it's only coming to Xbox One, PS4, and PC. It's weird they said it was coming to Switch in a tweet. Then they came back and said no, it's not coming to Switch. But it's gonna be $40. It's a remake of the 2003 Sands of Time. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a Prince of Persia guy. I never really played them, so I don't really have any like love or looking forward to this at all. But I don't know. What did you think of this thing?
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, I am kind of excited that that I will finally get a chance to play this game that wasn't like a bastardized port on from the PS2,
Yeah.
which quintessentially the Prince of Persia trilogy on PS3 was that. It had a lot of sound issues, and I remember certain like sound effects just being off, and that's what kind of turned me off to the gameplay of trying to play Sands of Time back then. But I'm excited to go through because I have never played Sands of Time all the way through. It's going to be coming out early next year, so it's going to be more incentive. Hey, this is probably going to be my first Prince of Persia game where I actually want to play through it. So I'm excited for that.
All right. This looks awful. Like I said,
Yeah.
maybe I'd be more excited if I had if the game plays fine, then I think that's gonna fix a lot of issues. But it's like we don't, all we have is what we've seen so far, and like they show a lot of pre-alpha stuff, which is why you show me pre-alpha stuff when the game comes out in 3 months or
Yeah, no
4
doubt.
months. I don't know. It's just it looks like a up-res early PS3 game. Is the way I look at that game. Like it just. Yeah, it's like they just did a little bit of work to it to bring it over
Yeah,
to
it's just
PS4.
like almost a bare minimum, sort of.
Yeah, so it's like I wonder if like that's an issue. Was it a time constraint thing or was it a budget thing? Like, what's the deal with that thing? Or like I don't know. But yeah, it did not impress. I think that was pretty disappointing to see. Or I don't know, like maybe if it looked good, I could see myself jumping into a Prince of Persia. But it's like I don't know. Maybe when it comes out, people are saying good things about it. Which is mine, but $40 for that, it's a little steep. Especially, I mean, like we just reamed on fucking Nintendo last week. It's like about their 3 ports coming to Switch for $60, and talking about how great Activision's doing with their ports. They're giving us Spiral Trilogy and Crash Trilogy for $40, and Tony Hawk 1 and 2 for $40.
Yeah,
So
and you got to think Vicarious Visions to get all that stuff done correctly. It's not like a lazy ass port. Say like how Nintendo's doing these Mario games. They're going to be releasing on the 18th, where it's basically high-res ports, quintessentially, with hardly any type of minimal things done to them.
Yeah. But moving on, this is the one big reveal they had. It's like their one more thing. We had Riders Republic. It's an extreme sports, massive multiplayer online game. So it's basically like a battle royale game, but like if Steep and Trials got together and made a baby, this is what that'd be with a battle royale. It's coming February 25th. It's coming to everything. New next gen, this gen. 50 players online at once. They have biking, wingsuiting, skiing, snowboarding, and more. And there's going to be a giant map. So I don't know what the fuck this game is. I don't know. Like I just don't know what it is. This just looks like a bunch of shit was like mashed together. Like it's like when you like fight with like your wrestlers or like your army man when you're a kid and you just kind of mash them together. That's
Yeah.
kind of what this game seems like. Like we're just gonna mash all these different game styles and different extreme sports stuff together, and this is what they got. But this is from the Steep creators. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what it is. I don't know how to feel about it. But what about you?
To be perfectly honest with you, I was kind of meh for the whole thing. I didn't see too much into it, but from the things I did see, I wasn't impressed.
Yeah, no, I want to see more from it, but I don't know. This is the full price game. There's no way. But next we had Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. The game returns. It is the complete edition. I think they said it's coming. I think give a release date, but I think they said it's coming later. It's coming this holiday. It's gonna be coming to all the consoles. I played this way back on the 360 on a sale, and it's just a fun beat 'em up game. But from all like, I mean, if like I don't know. I feel like right now there's better. I mean, unless you're like a Scott Pilgrim fan, which I love the movie. Don't get me wrong, but it's like I don't have like any love for the comics or anything. But I don't know. It was fine back then, but I just like we've had 2 pretty good beat 'em ups come out recently with Street Rage 4 and Battletoads. So
I agree.
I mean, if you're looking for like a good beat 'em up game, I don't think this is there's other ones you should play before that. But I don't know. I mean, like I said, it seemed fine, and like I played it because I like the movie. But I don't know. Do you have any fanfare for this one?
Actually, I do, because
okay.
I used to play this game. I played this game a lot on the PS3 when it did initially come out. I remember playing a lot Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I did love a lot of the music, because the music in and of itself was from Anamanaguchi. fantastic chiptunes. Fantastic chiptune tracks. I know for a fact it was more or less in the styles of River City Ransom in terms of the gameplay, where it's basically you're using like something of the currency in order to upgrade certain things, of like moves, like getting like, I think it was like very stat increments if I remember correctly. But I did like going through some bits of the boss battles because each one of Ramona Flower's like ex-boyfriends or like just ex-lovers in general, all of those boss battles were simultaneously different than the last one, and some of them like were more funnier or more epic than the other. And I really enjoyed it back then because I do remember like one of the boss battles was like against this dude that he basically plays like his guitar, like Guitar Hero and stuff like that, just doing all these, just shredding these chords, and all of a sudden you as Scott Pilgrim just go through, just tap one button and just go through, just punches him in the face and he just flips you off before your epic boss battle. But it was just moments of like quirkiness and also moments of like things I remember most. The gameplay in of itself I felt was pretty solid back then, but that was basically, it was just basically sort of like the standard beat 'em up at that time though, because what made the game good to me and why I remember it even like 10 years later after playing it, I remember the music being awesome. I remember the stage stuff being pretty cool. There was lots of little hidden things here and there. But what's going to be different about this complete package is you're going to get the DLC stuff that was inside, that was later released for the other versions, but because of how licensing issues were, you're not able to actually go through and buy Scott Pilgrim vs. the World for Xbox 360 or even the PS3 now because of the whole, their licensing issue stuff expired. So many players have not been able to buy that game at all. And so it's like, even though I technically still own the game on PS3, I've re-downloaded that game once before, like a few years ago, when I had a fun time playing it. So it's like, when it does eventually come out, I honestly want to play through this game again. I am in the mood to where I want to get this game. I believe there's going to be a physical thing to it. I'm not sure. But if so, that would be nice. Something like that concrete.
There was that talk of it. They said that right now, even who's people that does like the limited runs. Is it called limited run actually?
Yeah, it's actually called limited run. Yes.
Yeah, and then there's one other one that does like smaller games get physical editions. Like I have the Hyper Light Drifter physical edition. They said as of right now there's no plans for physical editions. So and Ubisoft hasn't said anything. So but
that's a shame.
But yeah, no, like I said, I don't have the hype level for that, but I'm happy you do. I know there's a lot of people out there. Like that was probably the biggest thing out of this event was probably I think that's got the most fanfare of everything. Yeah. Was that on Twitter that blew up was the Scott Pilgrim stuff. That was like leaking a little bit beforehand though. There was talks of that, so that that's cool though. I'm happy for you, Gables. But moving on, so the rest of the stuff is like small stuff. I'll run through it real fast. Rainbow Six Siege, you get a free upgrade if you have Rainbow Six Siege already. It's been out since like 2015. They'll have a next gen upgrade next year for free, and people that have it on next gen will get it in 4K and 120 frames per second. And also they announced that Sam Fisher will be in the new season content. And then we had this is so Watch Dogs Legion. They had the weird Stormzy is the rapper from the UK. He did a music video in there. And then also everybody's favorite hero, Aiden Pierce, is back from Watch Dogs 1. He is going to be in this game as DLC expansion. So I don't know if that's paid or not. That's kind of my reaction. Is that I was like, oh sweet, we're going to get I just spaced his name, but the guy from the second one, which was actually I liked him a lot. I think we just got anybody back from the second one. That'd been awesome. Yeah, so he's going to be the DLC expansion. That was a big deal. That was like the last final push for Watch Dogs Legion. And then there's a limited edition, time turbo mode coming to Hyperscape. So that was everything coming out for it. I don't know. Overall, Gables, what did you think of this event?
Honestly, I think the event, the whole entirety of the thing was like a wet fart. And that's perfectly like how I feel about it, because there were like minuscule things that did appeal to some of the fan bases, that to some fan bases, let me correct myself, to some fan bases that like the little incremental games that Ubisoft did go through and cover the whole, what was it, the whole Rainbow Six stuff, and like some bit of like Immortals, Phoenix Rising, and all the other stuff. I mean, those are the stuff that we didn't know. Honestly, in my personal opinion, the best thing in that show was the revealing of the 10-year anniversary of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. That was the biggest thing for me. Second being like, okay, Prince of Persia, Sands of Time, that's fine. But like I said, thought it was a wet fart. I think it was not as big of a thing as it could have been. I thought it would have been more appropriate just to release a series of trailers because it would have been a great idea just to do it that way instead of sitting through, like an hour's worth of fluff and bullshit. But I didn't like it too much. How about yourself, Tyler?
I think in some ways it was better than the last one we had. The last one was like, here's stuff you know about. Like, here's some more Watch Dogs Legion stuff, gameplay. Here's the first time we actually saw gameplay of Valhalla. A couple of other updates on their other games have been out for a while, and then ended with the Far Cry 6 announcement, which I think would have been a bigger deal if it hadn't leaked a couple days beforehand. Same with this event where I think some of I guess they said, but like the Immortal stuff that leaks of that were coming out beforehand, and then we've already had the demo out for a while. Prince of Persia thing that leaked, but then the screenshots came out that morning, and I was like, oh, okay. But like, I mean, it's shocking that Riders Republic never leaked. Like, it's the first time they've actually were able to actually reveal a game without everybody already knowing everything about it in years. And I mean, it was definitely I was looking forward to this one more just because I was looking forward to Gods and Monsters, and I was like, oh man, there's actually gonna be some. So it's kind of like the last one was like what you expect from EA Play, where it's like we're just gonna talk about the shit you already know about. Like, you maybe will get an announcement every now and again, but like most part it's just updates on games that have been out, and then here's our annual games you get all the time. This one was a little different, but it was okay. It was fine. I was never like really bored for the most part, but they always had my attention, but I was never like really overly excited for anything that was shown off. But for something I was extremely excited about, Gables, I literally tweeted about the night before about how I loved to get a Hyrule Warriors 2. My wish was granted. 6 hours later, Nintendo comes out and announces Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity.
Okay.
November. Go ahead.
That is fucking hilarious. You tweet that, oh, I wish there was a Hyrule Warriors 2, and all of a sudden it's like, bam, like, oh god.
Yeah. Right before I go to bed, I was like, oh fuck, man, I love Hyrule Warriors 2. I don't know why. But then like I wake up in the morning and people are like, I see someone post on Facebook, like Hyrule Warrior, or I saw a thing about the Breath of the Wild prequel. I'm like, huh? I was like, oh, is this Breath of the Wild 2 news? And I kind of find out even better. It's Hyrule Warriors 2. Age of Calamity. So it's a prequel to Breath of the Wild. It's going to take place 100 years before Breath of the Wild. And we got a little trailer from it. Not a lot of gameplay, but there's about a 6-minute video. They did say that we know you're excited for Breath of the Wild 2. We're going to have to wait a little bit longer for that to get more information on that. But oh boy, Gables, I am so fucking pumped for this. You have no idea how excited I am for this goddamn game. But what'd you think when you saw this news?
Shocked. I was absolutely shocked because I was not expecting another Hyrule Warriors style game to be announced so soon, especially since we're still waiting upon more news of Breath of the Wild 2. Literally, Monday morning hits. It's like around 8:30, around 9 o'clock my time, and I'm just going to go through getting ready for work and stuff, so I'm watching something on YouTube, and all of a sudden, as soon as I'm done with one video, I see on my little timeline thing, it's like, oh, this is like Hyrule Warriors, like Calamity of Ganon or whatsoever, and I'm like,
Age of Calamity.
Like Age of Calamity, like what? Like, I see this, it was updated like about 30 minutes ago, like, what the hell's this? And all of a sudden, I click on the video. There's Eiji Aonuma, just go through he's popping up on the screen, like, oh, yeah, we'd like to introduce you to the prequel here to Breath of the Wild. Like, oh, wait, what? And as soon as the gameplay hits, one thing shocks me. This game, this Age of Calamity, this Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, it looks like it's done entirely inside of the Breath of the Wild engine.
Yes.
It looked gorgeous. It looked like I was actually playing Breath of the Wild, and I had to just hold back for a moment, but it was like, I see that gameplay inside that engine and stuff, and I see these crowds, these mobs of monsters, all these moblins, all these little friggin' skeleton mob monsters and stuff, the Lionels, all this other shit, and here you are, you're playing as either Link or Rivali or Barbossa or Daruk and stuff, and you're just waylaying, just freaking wave after wave of Ganon's forces and stuff, and there's a lot of hints of strong story elements. This has gotten me excited. This has gotten me so excited. I want to pop in Hyrule Warriors, the Definitive Edition. I want to start playing it.
Well,
That's how much I fucking was pumped for it.
What was your thoughts on the original Hyrule Warriors? I can't remember.
To be perfectly honest with you, Tyler, it was one of those games where I was in the mood to play it, and all of a sudden another game came along, and that distracted me, and I didn't go back to it. I own another Wii U, but I also own it on the Switch, because I got the Definitive Edition, because I knew eventually I would play it through on the Switch.
Okay. Nice. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, I've talked about a lot over the years. I think the first one came out in like 2000. Was it 14, 15? I want to say.
I think so.
I know it was one of those 2 years. I can't remember which one though. But I never heard the term Musu until this was announced. But now I've heard it a million times. But like, I don't care for Dynasty Warrior games and all those. Like, those are not, like, I never play them. But it's like, Hyrule Warriors, I'm like, all right, fuck it. it's a Wii U exclusive game. It's a Zelda kind of game. I'm like, I'm all in for it. I'll check it out. But I've never been a big fan of those games. So it's like, fuck it, I'll check it out. Once I'm playing Wii U, and I remember playing it for like the first few missions. I'm like, okay, it seems fine, whatever. And I don't know, something clicked with me, man. I'm just like, I love that game. I flew through that game so fast. I had a blast with it. And then I remember going over to Justin's house, and he was playing it, and I had already beaten it, and he thought he had beaten it as well. And I'm like, no, dude, there's like 4 more missions after that. He's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, man. Like, he went and was like, oh shit. And it's like the excitement on his face when he realized he had more missions to do. And I don't want to spoil it for Gables, but because it's pretty cool what happens. Okay. But because it seems like it's over, and then something happens, and then there's like 4 more missions after that. They're probably the best parts of that game. But yeah, it's like, I mean, I love that game, and like, I got it again on the Switch, and I played a good chunk of it, but I never finished it again. But yeah, like, I'm so fucking pumped for this, and especially with the idea that it looks like Breath of the Wild, like they're using the assets of that game, and like I rag on Breath of the Wild a lot, but only because it's like everybody praises it so much. It's just kind of a fun like troll kind of thing with it. Where it's like I do believe it's still like the 7th best game of 2017. But I like I said, I agree that's probably one of the greatest games ever made. At the same time, but like, the best part of that game, the most interesting part of that, to me was like the story elements, which is crazy to think of a Zelda game. But like what happened 100 years ago in that, like what happened with Calamity Ganon, and what they always talk about these wars, and like there's some cutscenes and stuff like that kind of like tell you about stuff, and there's some stuff you find around in the world as you explore. But it's like, the fact that we're finally gonna get the answers to those questions, it's crazy to think. It's like, it's kind of like Star Wars. I almost said New Hope. It's not New Hope. Star Wars Rogue One, where it's like, that was like the prequel to Star Wars New Hope, and it's like, we already know they succeed, but they all die in the process. And it's like, and it's the same thing where it's like, we all know that they fail in this one, and in the 100 years ago in Breath of the Wild, like, we know they fail. We know that the Guardians die. We know that Link gets put away for 100 years. So it's like, it's like, I can't wait to see that. And it's also kind of cool, like some of the stuff we see. I watched some Game Explain videos where they showed like comparison shots. So here's what it looks like in Breath of the Wild. Here's what it looks like in the trailer for Age of Calamity. It's like the differences and all that, and then just the way that everybody fights. I mean, I'm so fucking pumped for this. November 20th can't get here fast enough. It's gonna be. It sucks. Comes with a goddamn day after fucking Cyberpunk, so that's kind of shitty.
No.
And the rumored release a week after probably the PS5 will be out too, which hopefully will be at launch. So yeah, but
man, this is the first time I'm hearing that. All of a sudden, I'm like, oh no, it's like Cyberpunk 2077 and fucking Hyrule Warriors Calamity with Ganon.
I was thinking about this. I'm like, because I have a note thing. Like, I thought it was before. I have like on my phone, my iPhone. I have the notepad. One of my notepads, one of the folders in there is it keeps track of release dates for games, so that way I always know. And then I keep tracks of like if I've pre-ordered them or not, because I've talked about before. I've accidentally pre-ordered the same game multiple different places and just not realized it. So I was looking at it. I'm like, oh man, like I was typing in Hyrule Warriors in there, and I'm like looking at November. And I'm like, fuck. So I wrote. So now I went and typed it out. So these aren't all the games I want. These are just all the big games that are coming out. So this is pretty much from like late October to early December. So there's a rumored Mass Effect trilogy that's coming out at the end of October. Mm-hmm. There's Watch Dogs Legions October 29th. Pikmin 3 October 30th. No, not the big game, but it's still a decent sized game. Assassin's Creed Valhalla on November 10th. Destiny 2 Beyond Light expansion November 10th. Gears Tactics on November 10th. Black Ops Cold War November 13th. Cyberpunk November 19th. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity November 20th. And Immortals Phoenix Rising December 3rd.
Dude.
And then that doesn't include Spider-Man's in there, and possibly Ratchet is in there somewhere. And Demon Souls, possibly.
Dude, we have not had a packed holiday like that in years.
Yeah. Usually it's like, I remember like 2014 was fucking nuts for me. But it's like ever since then, I'm like, all right, it's kind of spread. Like, it got a little crazy sometimes, but like, all right, it's spread out enough. But I'm like looking, I'm like, okay, I'm definitely getting Mass Effect. Okay. If it does in fact come out this year. Like, Gears Tactics, I do want to play. I got Game Pass. I'm going to play that. But I was looking forward. I'd buy it anyways. Black Ops Cold War, I want to play, but I'm going to wait on that one. Cyberpunk, I'm excited for. Hyrule Warriors, most excited for. Yep. Spider-Man, extremely excited for. Immortals, possibly excited for. Ratchet, definitely excited for. This is fucking nuts. Gables, what they need to get together and like plan this shit out. It's like, all right, guys, this is too much. Tyler is stressing out about video games. We gotta spread this shit out. I do want to mention on one hand though that the pre-order charge for I digitally pre-ordered the Mario collection, so I was able to finally put my $75 eShop card in my wallet on my Switch. So crisis averted, guys. Crisis is averted,
dude.
So yeah, that's one giant stress off my. I was finally able to throw that card away 4 months later. Like, I don't have to worry about losing you now. You were spent. But yeah, like I said, I'm so goddamn excited for fucking Age of Calamity. Like, I was talking to some people online. I'm like, man, I think I'm more excited for this than I probably am anything else. Like, even the new consoles, like even Spider-Man. Like, I mean, unless Wednesday comes and we get blown away by Miles Morales, which I already know I'm gonna be excited for anyways. But like, I mean, if it comes out and it's crazy, that's gonna be cool. But yeah, I don't know. Anything, and one more thing I want to throw in there. No More Heroes 3 was officially delayed to 2021.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. So the next thing I think we're kind of waiting for is that Bravely Default 2, the third Bravely Default game. If that's supposed to be a 2020 game, so I'm wondering what's going on with that. But I guess like they had that demo come out like 4 or 5 months ago, and it was like Bravely Default people hated it. Or like the demo was like they had a lot of backlash, and Square Enix was like completely blindsided by it. They didn't expect it, so I'm thinking the game probably got delayed, but I'm sure we'll hear something soon.
Yeah.
But I don't know, anything else you want to say before we move on?
To be perfectly honest with you, no. We can move on.
All right, so I told you this one before the show, and you laughed for about a good minute. So 505 Games, who was the publisher for Control, came out. We talked about this not too long ago, that they said that if you want to get the next gen version of Control, you have to buy the Ultimate Edition for $40. It comes with all the content and the main game. Even if you bought the Deluxe Edition, like someone like myself who paid the extra money for the Deluxe Edition, they said that that there's some blockers there. There's just no way that they can give a free upgrade to people. There's issues with it. They're not on their end. They can't do it. And then Wednesday morning, they accidentally gave everybody free upgrades that have the Deluxe Edition for about, I believe, like 4 hours. Yeah. So, Or so basically, what they did though is that so here they kind of explain it to you. So they accidentally gave anybody that bought the deluxe edition, so someone like myself, you were able to just download for free the Ultimate Edition. You could just go on the PlayStation Store and go on there and click install or whatever for free, with no charge. So basically, they had this whole long fucking post about like here's the issues, explaining it like we can't. They didn't really they didn't explain why. They said they couldn't do it, and then they did it. So obviously I guess like kind of Final 505 Games is like really shitty at what they do. Like I was hearing about like so there's that Bloodstain game they when they brought it to the Switch they accidentally put like a bunch of like the original run of the games. They accidentally put the wrong file on the game. They put an older build on the game, so you had like people that bought like the first run of the physical editions of Switch got the an older version of it, so they had to do like a patch to fix it. And then there's a couple other games that did that too, where like they're not like that, but they just royally botched like shit, and like they just kind of overall like kind of treat their people that work like the people they sign contracts with like garbage. So needless to say, 505 Games is they're a piece of shit for as gamers, but I don't know. That's just kind of as someone that like I talked about before, that really irks me more than anything because I am somebody that bought the deluxe edition. I haven't played the DLC yet. I want to play it, and I was like, that's gonna be something I'm gonna wait for in a dead time kind of thing when I have a decent like a couple weeks that I could just sit down and knock them both out. I was like, oh man, playing them on the new console. I don't know. I can play with backwards compatibility. I already own them, but it's like having the upgrade editions. I've talked about before. Like those games did not run well on the PS4. Maybe I don't know if it's gonna run any better on the PS5 or whatever, but I don't know. It just irks me all the more. So didn't you buy the Bloodstain game physically, or did you buy it digitally?
I did buy it physically, actually.
Okay,
and there is still issues present to this day that still needs to be fixed on the Switch port.
Yeah.
But it's a lot better than what it was in its earliest state.
Okay.
But
yeah.
while we're still on the topic of 505, in regards to the whole controls stuff, that is pretty much the biggest piece of shit news that I've heard this week in regards to the gaming news-wise. 505 Games tell you they can't do it. All of a sudden, someone hit the wrong switch and gave people access for 4 hours to download that stuff for free if you own the digital version. The digital deluxe edition, pardon me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there's no excuse anymore, 505. No excuse whatsoever.
No.
So
yeah.
you either fucking go through and have people upgrade their fucking PS4 to PS5 copies for free, or we're gonna call you out on your bullshit. Kind of like exactly what a lot of gamers are doing right now. But yeah, that's a terrible look for them. Absolutely terrible look. It makes them look greedy, and also makes people feel more hesitant in regards to what else they're gonna do next.
Yeah, and so I found out the other thing, the Indivisible game they had, they were the publishers for that one as well. They accidentally released the digital edition like 2 months early on the Switch.
I remember that.
So it fucked over the people that were like, because it was a Kickstarter game. So the people that kickstarted it, they were supposed to get it like with it. They ended up having to waiting, and so everybody could buy it digitally, but they had to wait a couple months to actually get it delivered to the house. They got it physically.
Wow.
So I remember that same thing happened with Friday the 13th, where like this guy. I remember. I don't know what was it for. I was at a midnight launch for something at GameStop, and I don't remember what I was getting. It was Evil Within 2, and I remember. I don't know why. I remember going there because I just randomly had like the day after off. So I'm like, and they were having a midnight launch because there's like 3 big games coming out that day. I'm like, well, I might as well go pick up Evil Within 2, and Friday the 13th was there. And like one of the games come out. It's come out the same day as Evil Within 2, and this guy was like in line getting the collector edition. He's like, yeah, it's kind of fucked up. He's like, I'm like, why? He's like, I paid so much money to get the biggest collection you can get for the game, on Kickstarter, but it's like that I'm not gonna get that for like 4 or 5 more months. But I'm coming to GameStop. I'm gonna buy that edition here at GameStop, but they can't give me my copy I bought a year ago. So it's like kind of the same idea. It's like, but I mean, this wasn't, that was the developer's fuck up. This is the publisher fuck up. So, they're pretty bad at what they do, it sounds like, and they're just overall pretty shitty. But we've already kind of hinted at it before, so not too much more to say on it. But we're having the PlayStation 5 event on Wednesday, September 16th at 1 p.m. Pacific time. We've already kind of touched on it, but I mean, I do want to, we'll kind of do our what we're expecting and maybe some like weird predictions, if anything you're thinking. I mean, what do you want? What do you think we'll see out of this? And I mean, so are you thinking $400 or $500 what we're going to see for this stuff?
To be perfectly honest with you, that's exactly what I'm thinking. We're going to be seeing the disc version of the PS5 go through at about $499.99. Mm-hmm. Then the digital one be about $399.99. I do not expect Sony to drop their digital edition below $400. But at the same time, I think we're going to be getting concrete console prices, console release dates. And to be perfectly honest with you, I feel like that Sony is going to release the PS5 probably around the same week. That's what I feel like is going to happen. I feel they're going to release both those systems, both their versions and stuff like that, the same week as the Xbox One. Oh, the Xbox Series X and Series S.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a strong possibility.
Okay. And what do you think about games?
In terms of games, we're definitely going to be seeing more clarification on the releases of Spider-Man Miles Morales and Ratchet & Clank. I mean, Ratchet & Clank, we've already heard it's going to be launch window, but at the same time, we don't know when in terms of launch window. It could be a month from after, or it could be within the next, 3 months until, the fiscal quarter ends. I'm not 100% sure what they're going through, but I feel like, other than the console prices and release dates, in terms of games, we're going to be definitely seeing more of Spider-Man Miles Morales, getting a concrete release date for that. It's probably going to be going through in mid-November, so I'm probably assuming it's going to be on the 17th, I want to guess, of November. But there probably is going to be one other game probably revealed that we are not aware of. Not sure 100% exactly, but I still feel like they've got a couple more surprises upon up their sleeves in order to get people more enticed to invest inside of a PlayStation 5 at launch. Because honestly, I'm kind of with you, Tyler, where I don't feel like they're going to be doing a monthly pay program for their systems. But that's pretty much what I feel. But Tyler, what were you thinking?
I'm thinking, I've talked about it. $500 I think is where I don't think they can go any higher than that. I don't think they're going to go any lower because the rumor is this going to cost. The box itself is $470 to make. Then you got shipping, you got packaging and shipping and handling on top of that. So I think they're going to lose money on this box, which I mean most gamers are console makers do. Very rarely at launch, I think, other than Nintendo, nobody makes money off of their launch. And I think Sony's in a good enough spot now where they can do that. I know the company itself, PlayStation is the most marketable, it's the most profitable part of them, but I think if they don't do this, it can hurt them more. I mean, basically, it's kind of like how we're going. You look at and it's so easy to say, but it's we've seen everybody fuck it up last generation, where it's PlayStation fucked up PS3. It was all you had to do was not fuck it up, and they fucked it up royally. Xbox, they were going in with the lead. Don't fuck it up with Xbox One. They fucked it up. The Wii, I mean, the Nintendo was struggling towards the last couple of years of the Wii. Wasn't obviously that kind of fell off, but they royally fucked up the Wii U. They just misread everything. So it would be so heartbreaking to see PlayStation fuck this up. But I mean, they can easily do it because we've seen them all do it. But hopefully they've learned not to do it. But I think $500 for that, and I wouldn't be shocked to see $350 for the discless PS5. I do think $400. I think they're gonna want, because they want to get that $399.99 besides, instead of $449.99, because that $399.99 sounds a lot cheaper than than it actually is, than $450. It sounds a lot more than just $50 because you have that I don't know. It's just that mental thing where that 3 makes more. It makes a big difference. Mentally for sharper. You always hear about game or everything sold at the cent is always at an odd number because it odd numbers sound smaller than even numbers, even if they're not. Like a 3 sounds cheaper than a 2 to something. Don't make it 23. Don't make it 22 cents. Make it 23 cents. I don't know. It's a weird thing about it. Yeah, I guess it's true. But so I could see the 400 for the discless, the PS5. I think that's very realistic. I think we're gonna finally get the big blowout of. I mean, we have to. Of a Spider-Man and Miles Morales. I can't fucking wait for that to get that. I'm so pumped for that. I don't think we really need to see any more of Ratchet and Clank. At this point, we've seen more of that than anything else. Of all the games that are coming the next gen, we've seen more of Ratchet and Clank than anything else. Probably combined, honestly. I think combined we've seen more Ratchet and Clank than Medium, Halo, Spider-Man, everything else combined. We've seen more of those.
We've only got everything except for the release date for it.
Yeah, so I think we can maybe get one more trailer, a little more details, and then I think we get a release date. I don't think December's crazy. I don't think we need it though. I could see that being like an early. I mean, unless they got something else in this place, that could be an early 2021 game. I think that'd be good actually too. But I mean, it would just be more of like a layup for them with with obviously Xbox struggling with launch games. It's like, hey, like we got Spider-Man and we got Ratchet and Clank, and I think we're gonna see gameplay of Demon's Souls. It was rated about 3 weeks ago.
Very true.
People are saying like when a game, that's one of the last thing that gets done for a game is getting rated. Like that means the game is mostly done or about done. So I wouldn't be shocked if we get gameplay for that. Possibly a release window or a release date. I'm thinking first half of 2021 at the latest. I know some people are saying a release date. I don't see, coming out with the PS5 launch game, but I don't see that. And I think we're gonna get one more big thing. Like that's something everybody's been saying is both Xbox and PlayStation are holding back. They got one or two big guns, and apparently PlayStation's got a real big gun that they haven't shown. I think it's Silent Hill. That's my guess.
Huh.
Is that we're gonna finally see Silent Hill? I think it's real. I think that rumor that we had earlier this year is real. I think we're gonna see it. I think it's gonna happen. I hope maybe it's wishful thinking, especially if it's a Kojima thing. It's gonna be it's gonna be in PlayStation game. Yeah, I'm almost wondering though, like if the leak, because the Xbox stuff, Phil Spencer came out, the head of Xbox, and said that they were supposed to that all this stuff was gonna be revealed about the Xbox next week instead of this past week. So I'm wondering if the Sony stuff probably wouldn't happen. I'm wondering if like Xbox had like a actual like event planned. Like will we have seen more, or was this going to be like a little thing like what we got basically? I don't know. They obviously have more stuff up their sleeve, so who knows what they'll announce more. I could see them in a couple weeks like, okay, well, here's our reveal of stuff coming, because I think they need it, honestly. I mean, I know they're going to kill with the consumer side of it with price and all that, but like if they want to show off more reasons why to buy an Xbox Series SX, here's more reasons to do it. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's maybe something that's wishful thinking. But I think that's what's gonna. That's realistic wise. I think that's what's gonna happen. But moving on, Gables. That is actually we're done with our topics for the week. So it's like I said, it's been a pretty crazy week, and it's gonna be another pretty crazy week. We just had a lot of big. Like usually you might get one big thing and a bunch of small things, but we just had like a lot. Like we had the Ubisoft for the Xbox stuff, Hyrule Warriors, PlayStation event announced. Like so, we've had a lot of stuff happen this week, and we got one big thing happening next week too. So, but moving on into what we've been playing, Gables. What have you been playing?
All right, I've been playing a couple things.
Okay.
I'm continuing playing Destiny 2 alongside a couple of friends, and mostly our nights playing together has been through trying to get a bunch of stuff knocked out for the whole Solstice armor. The whole Solstice event stuff ended this past week. I managed to go through and complete like the base forms of my armor, but at the same point I couldn't maximize the legendary versions of them because of the fact that my internet and then my whole friggin' broadband provider decided to cut out. I kid you not, they decided to cut out like around a day and a half before I had to go through and finish a whole bunch of stuff. So I was literally went out without internet or something for a day until I had to go through and call them up and get things recalibrated and things, because there was like a massive outage that occurred late last week, And basically what I had to do, I tried to get things going with that game, but I couldn't complete the stuff for the Solstice stuff. But I'm not too heartbroken about it. I have all that armor and stuff inside of my bank now for armor, just in case. But I've been going through a bunch of other missions, like a whole bunch of other bounties and stuff, to try to get certain weapons, certain gears. I have earned a good solid 2 or 3 exotic pieces of equipment, so I've gotten a couple exotic guns. One of them being the Rat King, which is a gun. It's a pistol, right? It's like a hand. It's like a hand cannon stuff, where the whole body of the gun itself looks like it has like a bunch of rats like on the side of the gun in and of itself, and its whole shtick is if your strike team, all of them equip Rat Kings, all of you're going to be super powered quintessentially because it stacks on top of how many people have it in your group. So going through like a strike mission or whatsoever with this gun equipped is going to make things go by smoother. But one thing I can comment on in terms of Destiny 2, since Bungie has left Activision, and from the time I've spent playing Destiny 2, readjusting myself, getting ready for Beyond Light that's going to be coming in November, they've done a lot of good things that have kept me invested in wanting to go into and play Destiny 2. Like accomplishing certain bounties to earn powerful gear, getting all sorts of various rare drops. I kid you not, Tyler. It's like I'm getting all these different types of engrams. Right now, some of the rarer ones are like exotic drops, like prime engrams, umbral engrams, where you use at this one machine, right, and you exchange them for these other specific types of legendary engram stuff that will either have one of a couple different things depending upon what armor, what weapon that you want to potentially could get. There's a little option to where you press the triangle and you see the details of what you will, like one of these items that you will get. So quintessentially, there's sort of like loot boxes in some retrospect, but I'm not using money to go through and buy these type of things in order to do like a roll. No, basically I'm earning these legendary engrams, these umbral engrams, right, and exchanging them for these other types of engrams in order to decode them and get whatever it is that pops up. So I've gotten some great weapons doing that. I know right now I'm using a shotgun, an exotic shotgun that I am working on a masterwork thing for. So for some exotic weapons, you have this exotic, like almost like a blueprint, right, that you earn, and then you have to either defeat or match these conditions and stuff so much, so once you complete 100%, you fully mastered that exotic weapon. And so I'm doing that with the Lord of Wolves. The Lord of Wolves that is like a semi-auto shotgun, quintessentially. So it's quintessentially a semi-auto, like, fire shotgun. And I love using it because it cuts through Fallen's, like, armor just like butter, almost. A lot of the bosses that I've faced while having this weapon all powered up, oh my lord, it definitely is hilarious just to cut through wave after waves of like bosses or other types of monsters and whatsoever. But yeah, I'm having a better time in terms of playing Destiny 2 now that I've got all these new things I can do. Of course, the biggest issue is keeping on the server because like what's been happening over the past week and a half, I've been having a lot of issues staying on the Destiny 2 servers, and there has been a lot of times where I've been cut out and just zoomed back to the title screen. Oh, man, I really wish Bungie would fix their shit when it comes to some of the connection stuff. I really do. But there's been other games that I have been playing. I did finish up Super Mario All-Stars. I finished up the Super Mario Bros. 3 version inside Mario All-Stars this past week. I started playing that when my internet went out, that I couldn't play Destiny 2. So I finished up that version, and quite honestly, it was pleasant. I knew a lot what I was doing. For kicks and giggles, I didn't go to any of the freaking toad houses besides maybe one. because I wanted to get the Hammer Brothers suit, but I never bothered using it. But no, what's hilarious is I went through the entire game. I wanted to go through the whole match 2 card game and stuff so I can see how long it would take me to go through and match the entire board. And quite honestly, I do have little bits of difficulties with that, but with the save state stuff, you can go through and start doing the match 2 and figure out some bits of the patterns and here and there. So by the time I beat Super Mario Bros. 3 on the Mario All-Stars edition, I had like over 70 lives.
Jesus.
Well, that's the thing. It adds up quite a bit because I know what I'm doing when I'm playing Mario 3. I mean, it's one of the games I've played through from beginning to end. This version in and of itself I hadn't played in so many years, but it was the first, literally like the version I remember playing the most as a kid, because I never had like access to an NES until I was around, God, I want to say getting into my teens. But yeah, I did all that. Then lastly, I decided to buy the Tony Hawk remaster for 1 and 2. Went to Walmart, bought my copy, popped it into my PS4, and man, the first night that I had that game, I was having a ball with it. I absolutely was having a ball. I could not believe the overall quality of how they retouched, how very Vicarious Visions retouched a lot of the old maps. I'm still enjoying how much new stuff they packed with it. They've somehow changed some missions on some of the older maps, and more or less to improve some of the quality, which I do appreciate, and there are some good improvements with it. What's hilarious is you're still collecting the secret VHS tapes in modern day 2020. That's the little quirk that I still am laughing about. However, I've had some bit of difficulty trying to collect all of the stuff inside of these levels. I mean, stat point boosts, one thing. The Vicarious Vision symbol, that was something that I have had issues trying to collect in some levels. The first event where you have to earn like either a gold, silver, or bronze medal in, that first one was the most difficult one to try to acquire a Vicarious Vision's symbol. Basically, what I had to do was figure out how to wall ride, jump from a wall ride up to a higher ledge, right? And I finally eventually got myself up to the top where I had to figure out, okay, how am I going to get on this beam and grind all the way over to where that symbol is? Because it's way above near the roof, and it's like right above like a certain bowl and stuff like that you can skate into. So what I figured out is there's something called a wall plant, where when you are riding into a wall, you hold the D-pad or the analog stick in the opposite direction while pressing the X button, and it will launch you to the opposite direction. So I needed some more height, and so I double tapped up on the D-pad before releasing X, and that does a boneless. And so what I did was boneless into a wall plant and ricocheted myself all the way up to the railing, I finally was able to grind across this freaking heavy beam all the way across the map over eventually to the Vicarious Vision symbol. But that took me around an hour to try to do, because eventually I had to go through and turn on the modifications for perfect rails, because I was having trouble maintaining balance all the way from the one beam all the way up to the other. And the first time I actually did that, Tyler, I did it the opposite direction, to where I got to the beam, I went to the left instead of the right, and all of a sudden I dropped down like, well, fuck. That took me about 10 minutes to get up there. But that was the only moment inside this game so far where I've had frustrations. But everything else, the level designs, the recollecting of certain items, familiar checkpoints and stuff, has been a ball. I fully 100% completed the Tony Hawk Pro Skater version. I'm working on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 with about 4 levels left. I have not touched anything in regards to the online or anything else in that regards. I've been using one skater, and that's been Tony Hawk. I've gotten most of the status boosts, so I've almost maxed out the entirety of Tony Hawk and stuff. But yeah, the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 stuff is actually pretty cool as well. The hangar, when you first started with that, man, the improvements of the visual fidelity alongside the other maps in that game has been redone well. But I got to admit, though, what I did find kind of annoying is, yeah, they have the soundtracks, the music, in regards to both games, like, from the most part, like, uncut. But what I would love to have seen is sticking particular tracks in a particular campaign, like a particular mode or something. Like, for example, Tony Hawk 1 music in Tony Hawk 1, Tony Hawk 2 music in Tony Hawk 2. I would have loved to have done that better, because that would have given me more of a nostalgic feel, besides having mixtures of certain musical tracks that are going to be inside of both games. Some of the new tracks were all right. There's a couple I kind of find annoying, obviously, because in my honest opinion, didn't really fit the whole scene, the whole feel of what you were doing. But I got to admit, this is one of those games where I feel this is a contender inside of one of the best games of the year so far. I really enjoyed the gameplay. I've encountered no types of issues in regards to glitches, or in terms of shoddy sound, or any type of terrible music stuff. And honestly, I've enjoyed playing through these old Tony Hawk games, these old modes. So other than that, that's all I've been playing.
All right. Well, that's cool, man. It's awesome. Glad you're enjoying that game. I haven't been playing much this week. The only thing I've been playing, honestly, is I put my copy of Hyrule Warriors back in. So I started playing that one. I haven't played too much. I played there 5 or 6 levels of that game. I think I'm fairly close to the end now. But yeah, like I said, I haven't played much. Just more Madden, Hyrule Warriors. Just kind of waiting for keeping everything clear until we get to I guess next week we're gonna have the Mario collection, and then like I talked about 6 weeks from now we're gonna get bombarded with games. So it's gonna be a good time. But I don't know. Like I said, I've been just playing more Hyrule Warriors. Nothing new for me on that front until next week. I'll have 3 new games. Well, 3 new old games to play. But yeah, thanks so much for listening, guys. We'll hear more from us. We are on pretty much everything: Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes. You think of it, YouTube, like I said already. Yeah, if you think of it, we're on there. Just look up Drunk Nerds Pod, Drunk-Nerds, Drunk-Nerds Podcast. Whatever you can, look us up on those places. Subscribe, follow, like, 5 stars, thumbs up, comment, whatever you can share, whatever you can do to help us. We really would appreciate it. Get our names out there. Appreciate all the new listeners we've had. Excuse me. But I was your host. I was Tyler.
And I've been Colonel Gables. So until next time, everyone, try to be careful in this crazy-ass world out there. Mm-hmm. But most importantly of all, I'd like to thank every one of you for listening to another fun-filled episode of the Drunk-Nerds podcast.
Hey, Gables.
Yep.
Wear a mask, wipe your ass, okay? Bye, guys.
See ya.
Excuse me. A few too many beers there. Anyways, we're on iTunes now, so go on there, check us out, and if you like us, leave us a review, and we'll even shout you out. And Jack will send you his credit card number.